Hello everyone. Today we are doing a creative world time lapse for a mountaintop base that I was inspired to build because of all the 1.17 and 1.18 snapshots coming out right now. And I want to talk a little bit about how this video will work, because as I just said, this is for 1.17 and 18, but this is a replay and with shaders, and there's also world edit stuff going on, and I do not have access to stuff like that for 1.17, so that's how this is going to work. I do want to say that the reference picture for this will be in the description. It is a building from one of my favorite games from when I was a little bit younger called Bravely Default, so there's more information on that in the description if you want it. And so now, enjoy the time lapse. If you find yourself enjoying it, consider checking out my channel after this video as well, and I will see you for the tour. So the 1.16 version of this build is finished. As I explained, we will be starting with a 1.16 tour, and then we will be hopping into the 1.17 snapshots, where we will see what changed exactly. And so let's begin with a tour. So this is the outside in all its glory with shaders, because I love shaders. So we are coming around to the back here. We've got the two towers that are identical to the front. We have a bunch of stuff hanging off the side, like those two towers there. And we also have this big airship along with a bunch of structural stuff to help keep it secure, and also just detail stuff. And of course, the big airship. It's the first time I've built anything like this, but I think it turned out quite well. So let's start right here. Before we go inside through that magnificent door, I love that door. It's great. We have this. It's just nothing on the inside, but it's just a little tiny tower on the outside to this much more massive fortress-looking building. And so we come on in, and we have three directions that we can go. We have this entryway. We can either go upstairs. We can go through that door that looks pretty similar, but on a smaller scale to this one. Or we can go over this way, and we're going to go this way because it is more simple. So we have an armor stand here with some armor that is going to be important to like 1.17 and 1.18. So we have leather boots on the bottom there because that'll help with powdered snow, and a gold cap and an elytra. And the reason why we have the leather boots there is because I imagine this being on a mountain, but obviously we don't have the 1.18 mountains yet. So we will just have to be satisfied with this little guy right here. But on a big snow mountain, those leather boots would come in handy. And this is also just a little elytra takeoff spot that I made for flying off in this direction from that entryway. And this is just a little tucked away area. It's empty, it's lit up. I don't know, put a secret thing there. And then over here is a little workshop area. So we come in here and we have a lot of different tools. Like we have this stone cutter here that I tried to make it look like it's cutting wood instead, kind of like a little very miniature like lumber mill. You put your tree down and it cuts it and you get your logs and stuff. And then here we have ancient debris. This is apparently a very, very rich workshop area. We've got your, what is this? We've got your smithing table. I forgot what those were called, to get your netherite gear, and a couple anvils around. I think it was just two of them. Yep, to upgrade your gear. And then we have the smelting area along with other goodies decorating on the other half of the room, just like the ancient debris right over there. And we have two blast furnaces for after your mining trips, and we have three visible furnaces. But then these are much more subtle. The floor is actually made out of furnaces as well, so you're not going to be short. So then back out from that workshop area, we can come to the staircase, and there's some area off to the side of that staircase that is mostly just a little hallway to the first little tower, where you can look off to the sides and you can come to this little tower and have a little bit more of a protected view of the outside. And so let's go upstairs because that is where all the fun is. So we come up and we have some storage. I put some stone storage up there. I tried to label some of the storage around to give some ideas of where at least I would... Whoopsie. I didn't want to do that. I put some... So anyway, I put some labels of where I think I would at least put stuff. So we have some stones up here, and then other miscellaneous storage throughout. We have this little living room and fireplace that's mainly decorational, and we have a chandelier coming up from the top that lights up both the second floor and the third floor, which we will look at in a bit. And we have more storage over here that is mostly for the wood. So once again, labeling things how I would label them in an ender chest, because everyone needs one of those. And we also have other hidden storage, like at the bottom of these wooden supports, to make it look a little bit more thick, with it being a different block, and then also having the signs. But then you got hidden storage that's pretty subtle. And then we have a little grandfather clock, pretty simple. And then we have your enchanting, another ender chest, because I love putting them literally everywhere. A little bit more labeled storage. And a little bit more tucked away storage. And this is one of the walkout areas. There's a lot of outdoor walking space in this build. This is the first little bit. We've got overhang from the 3rd floor, which we will see. So we come out here. So that's where the door over there leads to over here. And you can come out this way to another roofed balcony area. And this one is much bigger. It's got more very clear supports. And we can come back into... I keep breaking stuff. We can come back into the storage area, and now we can go upstairs one more time. So we have more miscellaneous storage here, just piles of barrels around, and we have a door right here that leads to a little beam off the side for potentially another airship that's just lower, but of course we have just the one. And then so we can finish coming upstairs, and we have a couple of bookshelves, and we have a way to look down to the 2nd floor, which I love, especially since it's split level. Like, we have 2 different block levels right here, so it's pretty unique. And then we come in here and we get the bedrooms. So we've got beds here, we've got decorations like paintings, another chandelier, some cobwebs at the top, because realistically it'd be pretty hard to clean up there, and the dragon head, and then gold and netherite armor to kind of show off there, along with the netherite sword storage, a wither skull, because that is also showing off to show that you have enough to just have a couple on display, and then a hidden shulker box. Well, not quite hidden, but subtle. I think that's a better word. Crafting table, jukebox, and another ender chest. And then we can come up over here. We have more of that hidden, more subtle storage up here before we get to the living room, which has 2 seats, 2 little cups here, and your steak for your meal. And we have a little bookshelf here. I used a ladder here to almost have it pretend to be like these tiny little shelves that you'd have against the wall. So it's a little quiet detail there, and we have these bigger shelves with these paintings, lights, and a creeper head up on the wall here. We also had something like that right there on the 2nd floor as well. And then here is the kitchen. We have these barrels with the sign and the item frame to almost act like a drawer that you can pull out and get the stuff inside, but that is just decorational. It's still just a normal barrel. And I tried to make a little cooking pot, kind of like the ones you would see in Skyrim, with the chains, the flower pot, the fence, and the campfire, and a little overhead thing. I'm not sure what they're called technically, to catch that smoke. It's just a hopper pointed into the wall with stuff around it to make it look fancy. And we have smokers and more of those overhead things, but smaller, and more of those shelves, a sink, more drawers, and more over here in lighting. So that is our kitchen. Now we have a lot of different ways that we could go. We have a staircase right here, as well as a staircase right there, and we also have a door right here. Let's go. What way do I want to go? Let's go this way first. So you come over here, there's more storage, a little bit of a pile of coal here, and we have a door to the outside. So when we come out, we have the top of the 2 towers. The kitchen is right below there in those towers, and we have a walkway, and then a staircase that goes down. Look at that view. Imagine if this was a mountain range. I'm so excited to have that in 1.18. And there's a door to the dining room, so that's where we went up right over there, so you know how things connect. And then we come over here, and we have these 2 towers, which are part of the bedroom that we saw. And then this wraps all the way around to the very, very top, where we have our airship, which we will check out last. But then this door leads to our little potion brewing area. So we have storage for potions, we have our nether wart, and we of course have the brewing stands, because you can't have potions without a brewing stand, and some little decorations about. And this is where that last staircase comes from. So we went up there, if you remember, and we checked out that door, and this was the other staircase that we could have gone up. So that's how this connects to the downstairs. And now for the airship. So the airship is technically tethered to this little area. I tried to make it look like it was connected with the spruce gates and fences as kind of a rope. And similar to this is supposed to be like a rope that's tethering these fences to the airship. And then we have a bunch of blades and fan things to make it actually move and stuff, and ways to turn it. And I don't know how airships work. I'm not going to pretend I know how they work, but let's look at the inside. So we need to open one of these gates. We need to hop on here and we can walk on up. And I also made this function like its own little base. So we have a pretend little control panel here with the lever and the redstone torch and a window to the outside, which we'll just pretend it has more visibility than it actually does, okay? We have the crafting table. We have furnaces at the top, some storage all about, and a little divider before you get into the bedroom, so you still have that privacy, as well as an ender chest, because I love ender chests. And that is the airship. That is the base for the 1.16 version. So now we're going to turn off shaders and we are going to hop into the current 1.17 snapshot, and we're going to take a look at how it looks. And now we find ourselves in the 1.17 snapshot. We're currently in 21W17A because that is what I started with when I transformed this build into its 1.17 self. So the major difference that you can see is that instead of basalt, we use the brand new deepslate blocks, and I tried to make a little bit of a gradient with the towers, and other spots it's just splashed in there because with my reference picture it was much darker on this side of the build. But so here, back at the tower, we have deepslate tiles followed by deepslate bricks, and then our stone bricks that we had before the gradient was basalt, smooth basalt, and then stone brick. This is a bit more of a harsher transition, harsher gradient, but the texture is more similar. So it's color or texture. We don't really have both yet. And I kept the black stone in because I liked how that looked with the deep slate. And I changed a lot of the walls to the deep slate tile walls. And I also kept some of the cobblestone. So you can see I mixed it in because I thought the deep slate brick walls, those are some long names, and the cobblestone walls worked well together. In other places I used the tile because I will be looking for every excuse to use the tile blocks in 1.17 because I love them. So coming around, you can see more of that. The back is very similar to the changes made up in the front, and there is only one other change to the exterior that I can recall, and that is lightning rods, especially for the airship because that is made out of wood and wool. Very, very flammable. So let's not burn that up. So we have a couple here just for good measure because I could not recall what the radius was for those guys. So we're playing it safe. Now, let's start with the interior. Actually, no, we got one more thing on the exterior. We added moss. So back at the Guardian Gang SMP, Rosamund and I made these little rock formations and stuff using cobblestone and mossy cobblestone, but we had to use carpet to kind of be like moss, and that was her idea. But with 1.17, we can use actual moss, which is fantastic. So I added those to the little rock formations and stuff, and I also added it to the ground to act as just a little bit of a different texture of grass instead of moss. And at our entrance, you can see my great redstone. I'm not a redstoner. I tried to make a shulker detect when the player approaches, so it opens the door for you, but the shulker detects the door closing, and so it opens it, but then the door closes, and it's just a bad time. So we're just gonna break that, so we don't have to hear that. If we come in here, this is the workshop area. There have been a couple changes, and honestly, this is where the most changes are, because I thought it made sense to replace what had been diamond blocks and iron blocks and gold blocks in general with their raw form, because it makes sense. You put it beside these blast furnaces where you would cook the ore. That feels so weird to say, where you would cook your ore in your furnaces before putting it off to somewhere a bit more special. So that has had some changes along with the raw singular form in item frames and some amethyst, because later on you will see we have a spyglass somewhere, so you gotta have some amethyst too. So let's go check out the other areas too. And for the most part, the interior stayed the same, but I did add candles throughout because those will act as a light source. So different areas will look more lit up, and they're also just a nice little decoration block. So we don't have to use flower pots all the time, not blots. I can speak, so we got some red ones over there. We got more candles here, and I made sure that they were all lit. And we also changed the fireplace from basalt to the deep slate tiles and bricks, similar to the outside changes there. And you can see that the block changes carry on into the inside, though not all the way because I forgot some places, but we're gonna let that slide because it's tour time. That was totally intentional. What are you talking about? We have a little glow item frame with a telescope in here, and it makes so much sense for that to be at the top. So you can take it and you can look out from the top. You probably get a better view on the outside, but it's right at the top, so you can easily take it and be like, that's a poppy. Wow. That's some great observation. I still prefer the Optifine zoom, but it's nice that everyone will be able to zoom in on stuff, whether or not they have Optifine or not. And so those are the changes that I made for 1.17. So that is this 1.17/1.18 Mountain Base complete. I hope you enjoyed. And if you did enjoy, please let me know with either a like, a comment, or possibly even a subscription if you aren't. And I hope to see you. I hope you have a good one. And again, thank you so much for watching. Wait a minute. You can't shift jump. Like, you used to be able to shift while you were flying. Like you can go down, but it would actually shift your character. When did they remove that? Okay, anyway, bye. I appreciate you watching this if you did. If you know when they removed it, let me know because I loved that. Where'd it go?